All right, today we're going to talk about isosceles and equilateral triangles. Okay, so isosceles, what makes them special? Two of their sides are congruent, and two of their sides are congruent, and two of their angles are congruent. Does everyone understand that? Angles and sides have a relationship. Okay, and if it's equilateral, all sides are congruent or all angles are congruent. Okay, now, so if I'm going to classify this one right here by sides, this is what? Isosceles. Okay? Because I don't have any angle measures or anything like that. Now, in a triangle, you have legs and you have bases. Okay? You have two legs, and those are the two that are congruent. Okay? So what are the two legs in this example? AB and AC. Frankie, if you can't find it, I can help you after. Okay? So what is the base then? BC. The easiest way to tell the legs is they have the marks right here. Okay? So what are the two base angles? The two base angles are the ones directly across from that angle, or from that side, basically the one that created that side. So if I have AC right here, the angle across from it is B. Okay? And the other one across from AB is C. Now, what we will learn later today is B and C are congruent, okay? If B is 40, C is 40. If B is 80, C is 80, okay? The vertex angle is the leftover angle, which is what angle? A, okay? It is not congruent to the other two. If it is congruent to the other two, then it is equilateral. Everyone on board with that thought process? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, so the one thing that can trip people up, though, also is I can rotate this triangle. It's not always going to look the exact same every time, okay? So there are two theorems. It's not something we're going to focus a ton on, but basically all it's saying, if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the opposite angles of them are congruent. So basically, if AC and AB are congruent, then B and C are congruent. Does everyone understand what I just said? Okay? If those two sides are congruent, the angles across from them are congruent. Okay? So AC, the angle across from it is B. We talked about that a minute ago. AB, the angle across from it is C. So those two, since those sides are congruent, those angles are congruent. Okay? Then, what's opposite is true is if angle B and angle C are congruent, then guess what? The sides are congruent. Because I may give you the angles, I may give you the sides. So you've got to know if B and C are congruent, then AB is congruent to AC. Okay? Basically, it's just saying one way, if the sides are congruent, the angles are congruent. The other way, if the angles are congruent, the sides are congruent. Saying the same thing two different ways. If it's equilateral, they're all the same. Okay? Right now, we're focusing only on isosceles. Okay? So if I come and look at an example now. So what are the... Okay, so we've got an angle of 30, okay? Is E and F congruent to each other, or one of them congruent to 30? E and F are congruent to each other. Does everyone understand that? Because directly across from them, the sides are congruent. So those are the base angles. So to solve this, how many degrees are in a triangle? So I've got 180, and I'm going to subtract the vertex angle is what? 30, so I get 150. Divided by 2, and what do I get? 75. So both of these are 75. Okay? Now, some people get confused when we hit the next problem, okay? Because everyone wants to solve them the same way as that. What are the two base angles on this one? Okay, what is the other base angle, though, E or D? E. So does everyone understand that these two angles are the same? Same reason as before. The sides are the same. So this angle right here is 40. So that means that angle D is 100. If you're wondering how I knew that, I've got two 40s that add up to 80. So I got 180 minus 80 is 100. Okay? Any questions? Number 4. All right, are M and P, okay, are they base angles which are congruent, or one of them not a base angle? They're both congruent. Does everyone understand why? because hold on, because the opposite sides are the same. They are equal, so I would set them equal. So I got 6y equals 8y minus 16. What would be the quickest way to solve this problem? Minus 8. Which is going to leave me with negative 2y equals negative 16. So what's y? 8. Does everyone understand that? Okay. You're going to get a positive answer. Okay. So when I plug, it wants it back into p, so I come right here. 8 times 8 minus 16 is what? 48. All right. The next one, we're going to use this problem twice, so it's important to kind of understand the setup of it. And this is probably the most tricky thing of the day. This problem isn't, but number 7 is. Okay. Does anyone know what angle? How would I find angle F? So 56. I had a pen. So 56. No, they're not random numbers. Those are side links. Now, do we trust the picture? No. Okay, because right now those two look the same in the picture, but clearly they're not. So 56 plus 62 is 118. So the missing angle is how much? 62. So 62 goes right here. 62 goes right here. Something that people will mess up consistently when we do this, okay? Angles add up to 180. Does everyone understand that? The 3 angles add up to 180. These side links can be anything, okay? Side links don't add up to 100. They don't add up to 50. They don't add up to 20, okay? Side links do not have to add up to a certain number, because I'll put equations around all the 3 sides and people set them equal to 180. That's dead wrong, okay? Side links do not add up to 180, okay? So if I look at number 6 right here, I've got 3 side links. I guarantee if I gave this on a quiz or a homework, people would add all of them up and set them equal to 180, and you would be wrong. Because those are sides, they're not angles. If they were inside as angles, 100% right. Okay? So, which 2 sides are congruent? What are their equations? Which 2 sides are congruent? Does everyone understand that these 2 sides are congruent? This side and this side. If you're wondering, well, how did I know that? This angle is congruent and this angle, so they are the same. Everyone on board? Okay? So, I'm going to set them equal. Okay, so 2x minus 4 equal x plus 5. Do I need this 2x plus 2? No, get rid of it. It's useless information. Okay? The only way I may need it is if they ask for it at the end, I can plug it in. Okay, so I solve it. So what am I going to do first? Subtract x, subtract x. Okay? So I get x minus 4 equals 5. Then what? Add 4, and x equals 9. Lana, what time is lunch? What is it? Okay. All right. So they want to know AC, so I go plug it in. So that's 2 times 9 minus 4. What's 2 times 9 is? Minus 4 is 14. So these are both 14. But the fact that those are 14 has nothing to do with AB. Okay, if I plug it in, it's actually 20. It really has no bearing, okay? Those 2 sides are the same, but they can equal any number. They do not. The sides do not have to add up to anything. All right, so this is really what it all comes down to. If I look at this last one, we said angle F was how much? 62. If you didn't know that, it's from number 5. It's the same problem. Now, let's think about this. Does anyone think they know what GH would be? The 41 and the 42 matter. They're not just random things. Okay? 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 You just asked a question I've tried to tell you many times today. It does not. The side links do not add up to anything specifically. Okay? So, the fact that that's 40 and 42, it is not adding up to 180. Okay? But let's think about this. If this is 62 degrees, okay, and it gives me a side of how much? 42. This is 62 degrees, so what do you think that side's got to be? 42. From here, we subtracted all that math. It's the same problem. You solved for it earlier. You actually did. It's 62 is that angle, because right now, the three angles inside have to equal 180. Always. So if an angle is 62 and it gives me a side of 42, every angle in that triangle that's 62 is going to give me a side of 42 for that specific triangle. Doesn't mean later today you see an angle that's 62 and go, oh, it's got to be 42. That's not a rule. Okay? So if the angles are congruent, the sides will be congruent. Everyone kind of understand that. I know that really stinks because the picture looks really bad. Okay? But that doesn't mean you won't get a question like that. All right? So whatever angle it is determines the side length. Okay? Makes sense? So the answer is 42. If that angle would have been 56, that answer would have been 41. Okay? And if it wouldn't have been isosceles or equilateral, I could not solve it. All right, the last one we're going to talk about. Classify that by sides is a equilateral. Classify it by angles. Equiangular. Hopefully we should know these two corollaries. All that is just a rule. Okay? If a triangle is equilateral, then it's equiangular. If a triangle is equiangular, then it is equilateral. Okay? Anyone blown away by that thought process? Okay, hope not. All right. They want to know what JL is. JL is a line. It's not an angle. Each angle up there, JK and L, each angle is how much? You just said it. 60. Okay? Well, because there's a homework question that I'm not going over in the notes, so I'll show you that before we break. So all the sides are what in an equilateral triangle? Equal. So I would set those two what? So I'm going to say 2t plus 1 equals 4t minus 8. Okay. Miss Elder's doing trivia with the staff, so my phone, like, through a text. So I've got like 3 texts in like a minute. I don't even know what the questions are. All right. So what do we do next? U minus 2t. Okay. Subtract. So that's 1, 2t minus 8. Then what? Plus 8. Plus 8. So I get 2t equals 9. So divide by 2. T equals 4.5. Okay? Now, that's what x is, and they want to know that. So it's 2 times 4.5 plus 1 is 10. Now, something to keep in mind, okay? If this is 10, what does every side have to be? 10. Even KJ, they could ask you, KJ, to try and trip you up. It's got to be 10, okay? All right, the last thing, this is a homework question. I'll just set it up for you, okay? Each angle in a triangle that's equilateral has to be how much? Does everyone understand that? So what must I set 4x plus 8 equal to? Exactly. Okay, so that's number 8. I'm actually going to leave that up on the screen. Okay, I'm going to hand out. Let me stop.